Hello, hello. Good evening, good evening. I think we're live. Just gonna give it a moment to see if my internet connection here is okay to handle the stream right now. So far it looks pretty decent. I've got a couple of photographs to edit, so I thought I might fire up a stream as well. So I've actually already exported the files I need from Capture One. I've got a small property that was tenanted, and I just wanted to quickly show you kind of my process very roughly in Capture One. So I typically shoot 3 ambient frames, then 3 flash frames, typically one behind the camera, and 2 fill flash frames from left and right. And then if anything else is needed, I shoot on top of that. So I have a couple of presets I've actually use in Capture One. They're actually here called custom styles. Since I'm going to be blending our ambient layers using luminosity masking, I have a different kind of preset for each frame. So if you see on the custom styles here, I have one for dark ambient, middle ambient, and bright ambient. And then I have a preset for flash, and then also one for window, which is at 5500 temperature for the white balance, although that's not always obviously correct. So yeah, in that case, it doesn't really matter. But as you can see, I have a little system I use here. So I've assigned red color, and then 1 star is for my bright exposure, 2 stars is for the middle exposure, and 3 stars is for the dark exposure. Then we have flash. So that's under a orange or yellow color. And we have 1 star for flash behind the camera, 2 stars for a flash on the left, 1 on the right, and then anything else like the fill flash in the bedroom there is like 4 stars. So that's kind of the basic setup I have. And then when I export the files, I export them obviously to TIFF files, and each one of photo shoots is put into a collection or like a separate album, so then I can rearrange the photographs. So because of the way my actions are made, I have to have photos also arranged in particular order. So I always start from the brightest exposure, middle, and the dark one, then my base frame, and then fill flash frames, and after that anything else is just basically left by my Photoshop action. So in here I can basically move the files around, so I can move them in between, as you can see. So I arrange the files and then export them using recipe, and it automatically adds a numbering to the front of the image name, and that way I can make sure that they're all exported in the correct order. So that's kind of a basic setup I have in Capture One. I do like it. To be honest, I prefer it more for interior and architectural kind of work more rather than real estate. Lightroom is good in a way because you can export everything directly from Lightroom into Photoshop, and you can also export it as smart layers, which means you can access all the raw data within Adobe Camera Raw when you're in Photoshop, which is a plus. But yeah, I kind of like using Capture One. So let's jump into Photoshop. I'm going to see if I can grab a photo. Let's load it up. Okay, so got a bathroom shot And it's as always, bathrooms are. It's funny because they're small spaces, but they actually require a lot of work. There's not much space, which means there's a lot of hotspots from the strobe and so on. So I've got my actions bar here. I've actually have a action for 1 ambient in 3 frames, 3 flash frames, sorry, which is exactly what I have here. I'm not using 3 frames for just this shot. So I'll run the action. And everything is kind of created here already. So my ambient is in luminosity mode automatically. And then I have my left and right shots. And then below that, I have all the extra frames. So we're going to deal with these in a moment. So first, let's work on those frames here. Remove what we don't need. Let's try and avoid this shadow if possible. Okay, let's bring this frame here. So it's not really super necessary, to be honest. I don't really think we need it at all. So these are the flash shots in the hallways. So we're going to deal with that later. Let's enable our flash base. I've got one in darken mode, one in normal mode, which is something that Peter does a lot. I think Brendan Watts puts one in color mode. So the question is, do we want to use anything here? So I think this part of the image where the mirror is more or less clean, whereas here we have a little bit more of a reflection. So this, I might use that part. So it's a little bit darker. Just pressing Shift to disable the mask for a second to see. We can probably paint in this area as well. It's got a little bit of a reflection, but it's much less than the current one. And I might brighten up here around the sink, I think, a little bit. Just trying to see if we have anything that's good enough. Maybe that base frame. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. Then we have our one of the hallways. Let's see. I think lighten mode. Let's just go with screen. I'm going to add curves and clip it. I'm just going to drop around midtones a little bit. Let's group it, add a black mask. I'm just going to gently tap in this brighter area there. And then we have the room in the back. Again, lighten mode looks a little bit funny, so let's just leave it at screen. Let's see if we can work with the curves a little bit. And again, add a mask, paint it in. Yeah, I think that's all right. I'm just going to group it, enable our ambient. It's got the 50% gray on it already. And we've also got curves if we need. Additionally, we can just work with opacity here. So we can even decrease it a little bit. or increase it, whichever you think is best. So I might remove that shadow. I think we might need to remove a little bit of the ambient from here just to return some of the colors. We have a color correction here as well, so I might just use color range and select some of the ceiling parts. I've got a fairly strict fuzziness on it. Or threshold. Okay, I'm going to leave the selection like that. I'll drop saturation maybe to around minus 30, 40. Let's put it in a group, add a black mask. And just going to gently paint, oops, with the brush. And that's a little bit better, not too crazy. And play around a little bit with the curves on the ambient layer. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave it like that. It's not bad. It's good enough, as I would say. Let's drop the next one in. Let me just close Capture One so it doesn't hog up my memory. All right, so this one here has got is basically 3 ambients. So I'm going to run my other action. So let's press F3. This action actually runs it with Lumencia, and I think I'm gonna swap it again. I used to use the regular luminosity masking using channels on my previous actions. With Lumencia, it takes a little bit longer to run the action. Anyway, it's much faster than doing it manually, so I'm not going to complain. Okay, so we've got left and right. Let's adjust these quickly. And then we have the flash base. Okay, we might use the darken on the backside of the or the background because it's fairly bright. We'll see if we need it. But first, I'm going to use the normal mode. Let's add a mask. I'm just gonna gently paint in the front. Okay. I might use the darken mode one just a little bit, not too much. Let's see, I think we might need to remove that shadow. And that might mean we need to add a little bit of the flash base. It's decent enough. I actually have also this frame, which to be honest I kind of like as well. It's pretty moody. But I might add it to the left side of the image. It's got a little bit more definition and looks nicer. And I'm gonna leave the rest kind of more of the right side a little bit more untouched here. So I'm just gonna group these and rename it into a flash. That's my flash frame. Let's enable ambient, and just with the 50% gray mask on it looks pretty good. Going to add a little bit more contrast just to the ambient layer. So I've got my curves that's clipped onto ambient. Okay, let's go to the hue saturation. I'm going to use color range and just tighten a little bit our whites. You can see all the dirt here. Just selecting kind of anything that's got or should be white in the scene. Just holding my shift and adding to the selection. All right, I think that looks decent enough. Let's drop saturation. Could actually go to the yellow channel and just work on the yellow. Yeah, I'll drop it maybe to -30. Again, put it in the group, add a black mask, and let's paint in wherever we want to just desaturate a little bit. As you can see, you don't have to be extremely accurate here. We have a pretty decent selection already, and then using soft brush. So before and after, it's very, very decent. To be honest, we don't really need that that much because of the how the temperature was. It was very sunny, so there really should be probably some cast, but as we know, real estate agents love desaturated walls. Now we have a problem with the window, and the problem is I don't have a separate frame here. So let me see what I can do here. Let me find. Okay, I think that's the frame. Unfortunately, they're doing some works on the building opposite, so it's got the scaffolding in, and they've got like this yellow, sorry, not yellow, blue kind of film wrapped around the scaffolding, so it's a little bit an annoying view. Again, I'm doing just a basic, very simple selection around the windows. My feather is set to 0.4. right. Okay, let's press Alt backspace. I'll press Control M for my curves, Tab space to clip it, press Enter, and then we can work on this more if we want to. To be honest, we don't really need to. We don't really need that anyway. Right, I think that's mostly it. I think what I want to do is add hue saturation. I'm just going to select yellows, and I'm just going to desaturate a little bit, invert the mask, and I'm just going to paint it on this particular cupboard because this one is a little bit too orange for me. And okay, let's work on fixes. Again, not super necessary here, but we have my sensor dust here. Let's remove that. There might have been, yeah, another one here and another one here. I think since that time I've already cleaned my sensor, so new photographs should be pretty decent in terms of being free of sensor dust. And then we have a lot of those things here, so let's just do a very simple healing brush treatment here. Let's smooth it out. Okay, I guess that's good enough. I'm going to save that. And what I'll do is probably finish it up in later on in Lightroom. Let me see. Grab the other photograph. Okay, we don't need this one. Okay. Let's first do the base one. So definitely the darken mode on the windows. I think I actually like it everywhere. So let's leave it at that. And underneath here I have frames for the kitchen. And then I think I did a window pull, but to be honest, I don't think we're going to be using that. Let me just group that and remove the visibility for the time being. So the lighten mode looks a little bit funny, so I might change it into screen. Okay, let's leave it like that for the time being. I'm gonna put this one in screen as well. let's put it in the group. Let's see what's better, dropping opacity, or we do hue saturation, curves adjustment. I think that's what I'm going to do. Add a white mask to that group. Lower the flow a little bit here. Okay. So remove some of the ambient from the kitchen area, just so it's a little bit brighter there. Let's have a look at curves. Oops. You see, I don't really want to play too much with the colors here because that was really sunny, and this actually is the way kind of it should be. Okay, let's just give it a little hue saturation change here. Okay, I think the selection looks decent. I'm just going to lower it maybe -20. I think it's decent. Just having a look if there's any areas that need a little bit more correction. So looking at the kitchen, obviously, where it's not as much natural light coming in, we have discoloration there. So I'm going to select my color layer, which was created by my action. I'm going to sample the color of the ceiling as it is here, so with this kind of yellow tint to it, and I'm just gently going to paint around the ceiling just to equalize the color a little bit. I'm going to leave the wall itself alone so it's not affected. And that looks better, and maybe the same around here. I think that is decent enough. All right. Let's do our fixes. Got 3 separate dust sensor spots. Actually, there's another one here. That's the light. It's there naturally, but to be honest, it's a little bit distracting, so I'm just going to remove that. And for the most part, I'm just going to leave it like that. It's good enough. All right. Let me run the action. Just going to increase the flow a little bit so it doesn't go that slow. Let's see what we have here. Okay, it's kitchen, living room. These are interior, these are window pulls, but I don't think we're gonna really need them. We'll see. Okay, let's grab kitchen. Let's put these in screen. I need to darken it a little bit here. Even drop the opacity and then add a mask and paint in. Okay, similar here. I'm just going to drop opacity a little bit. I don't really need the curves adjustment layer. Maybe even a little bit more. Let's add a black mask and then let's paint that in. All right. Now I've got our flash. Normal mode and darken mode. So, okay, let's start with the normal mode. Just some of the areas that are a little bit too bright, I'm going to tone down. Okay. Maybe add a little bit of shadow here, just so it looks a little bit more natural. All right, ambient. Let's see. I think I'm just going to leave these alone. Okay, we might need to do a couple of little color fixes. Right, the previous selection works pretty well here, so let's just accept that. Let's drop saturation, maybe -40. Put it into a group, add a mask. Really just working on the ceiling more than anything. Okay. Wow, on this one you can see so many spots with the sensor dust. It's quite a bit. As I said, since then I've already fixed that issue. Okay, I think that's good enough. I'm gonna not worry too much about the windows on this one. It's good enough. Let's give it a save. All right, let's run the action. Okay, let's look at the flash base. It's darken mode. Oh, look at myself in there. You can see my feet here. Yep. You have to be careful with those. All right, I'm gonna fill in a little bit of light here, just to balance the exposure a little bit throughout the image. Actually, let's put it in light and see what we can do here. It's not too bad. Bedroom. All right, I'm going to use the screen mode. Just going to add a little blur. All right, let's drop opacity a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to remove a little bit of ambient from here so it's not as dark. A little bit from the windows. Okay. Again, I don't want to do too many changes to the color, to be honest, but I think the agent would probably prefer it a little bit more tamed. Right. Oops, not lightness, saturation. Let's drop it by 25. I think it looks actually pretty decent like that. Okay, my connection is also a little bit funny. All right, give me one moment. My daughter wants to go to bathroom, I think. 1 second. All right. I am back. Forgot where we were. Gotta get the fixes sorted here. So I'm not even sure if you can really see the dust spots that well on YouTube with all the compression. I'm also trying to upgrade the internet to sort out streaming problems a little bit. My connection has been a little bit all over the place lately, and I had a little bit of problems with dropping frames, which is not ideal. But hey, that's, I guess, the joy of streaming. Fortunately, my pre-recorded videos won't have that problem. Right, let's save this one. Right, let's do a couple things here. So let me add the other photographs. And cool, let's run actions on these. I only got 3 files left here, so I'm just doing it manually, but I could go into batch if I had way more than that and just run it automatically from there. All right, I mean, just looking at that already looks pretty decent. Just going to use the main flash to brighten up the image a little bit. We don't need the darken, so let's remove that. Adjust the curves just to make it brighter. And just thinking we should make fixes. Okay, just to be honest, I probably normally wouldn't do that, but since I'm streaming right now and editing, I'll go around. So I've got my color frame, just gonna sample the color from the wall here and just paint it in on this side where it was a little bit desaturated. It was a kind of a hot spot. Maybe if I zoom in, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. That's before and after, so we equalize the color there. Let's do color range, and to be honest, I'm just going to focus on the ceiling. And again, to be honest, I kind of like it the way it is right now because that's the way it was. But as usual, estate agents would prefer to see something a little bit more balanced there and more towards white rather than yellow. So here we go. I think that's going to be enough. And then our fixes, just getting my healing brush. It's the second, and here's the third. And I think that's decent enough. I could remove that little thing here. There's another bit here. Okay. Let's save that. Move to the next one. Okay, let's remove ourselves from here. Okay. To brighten it up here. Actually, we need the bedroom frame on top there. Just gonna put it in lighten mode. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just gonna, I'll leave it, I guess, at 100%. It's not bad. Okay, ambient. All right, let's do those color fixes here. Yeah, around 40, I guess. Just gonna leave it like that. And let's do our fixes. All right, I guess that's done. To save that, it's good enough. We're back in the kitchen. Okay. Okay, I'll need those two. Okay, this one has not that great of a white balance, so might need to do some adjustments in a moment. Right, on this one I'm going to use lighten. Looks pretty decent, and I'm just going drop opacity, and I think, yeah, let's add a white mask, and then I'm just going to paint out the reflection here in the glass, and just maybe a little bit here. Okay. Right, our flash base. So I like the darken in the back there. So this one definitely has a better white balance. I'm just going to paint in roughly where the cupboard is, just to brighten it up a little bit, avoiding the left side, sorry, the right side of it, just so there is a little bit more shadow area here. And yeah, I think that's pretty much that. Let's see if we want to paint in a little bit more ambient. Okay. And curves. Okay, let's do a couple of color fixes. Let me duplicate hue saturation. So one we're going to use for walls. Guess we could use this one as well because it's gray. I drop it maybe around 20, 25, something like that. And the second one, I'm just going to, let's go straight to yellows. And I'm going to drop it a little bit. Let's see if we add lightness. Nah, let's leave it at 0. I need a small adjustment, maybe 6 is okay. Let's invert the mask and I'm gonna paint it in only on the cabinets here. And to be honest, it's probably pretty decent work we could do in Lightroom by using the color section and then reducing the oranges. You not only have yellows there, but also oranges, whereas Photoshop splits it, I think, into 6. Oh, 7. Magentas, blues, cyans, greens, yellows, reds. Oh, okay, and then master. So yeah, basically 6 main colors, right? Red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta. Okay. So I think in Lightroom you still get... I guess there's orange and maybe something like purple, I think. Anyway, as I said, probably Lightroom would allow us to work with that a little bit better. Okay, in any case, let's go into our fixes layer. I'm just going to work on some of the little problems we have here. Okay, it's not bad. So if I zoom in here, we have like this area here. It looks a little bit off in terms of the color. So I'm gonna go back to my color layer. Let's just sample the color from the ceiling and just equalize this area here a little bit. And that is decent enough. And yeah, let me save that. Oh, and that's just about when we hit 1 hour on the stream. So I think that's going to be it from me. I need to go and sleep. There's a day tomorrow as well. Thanks for checking out the video, and I'll see you next time.